Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. Please enjoy this video on the Political Voices Network.
You said it best on Twitter, Glenn. You said Donald Trump is the very definition of contempt. I mean, if this isn't right? If this isn't contempt, I don't know what is. So the prosecutors said that he violated the gag order at least 7 more times. I don't know if we're up to more. That was by the time court adjourned Tuesday. So, your friend Andrew Weissman said a Manhattan jury selection concern whether there has been or will allowed to be the strategic dissemination of information by the Trump team and about jurors who they see as problematic for them in order to scare them off from jury service. I mean, this could happen to the jurors that have already been seated, right? I mean, someone said you're going to need at least the 6 alternates. But, once again, Glenn, we're in uncharted territory. Like, how is this allowed to happen? That they can just, target whoever they get information about?
It's been allowed to happen because the institutions of government have decided to strike the balance in favor of Donald Trump, letting him endanger everyone who's involved in the endeavor to hold him accountable for his crimes, prosecutors, jurors, witnesses, judges, and their family members, rather than applying the law as it was intended to be applied and detain him pending trial. There is an easy solution to all of this, but for whatever reason, the institutions of government have refused. They've refused to apply the law to him as it would be applied to anybody else. And that's something that I hope when we look back in our rearview mirror and Donald Trump is sitting his big fat orange butt in a jail cell, we can do a little autopsy. We can do an after action report on why it is the institutions failed in this task.
To quote the excused juror, more yellow, really, than orange. So Judge Marans said he would not order the prosecutors to disclose a witness list to the defense team in light of Trump's recent attacks on figures connected to the trial. The prosecutor said, we're not telling him who the witnesses are. This is extraordinary, right? And Marans said, I can't fault you for that. Judge Marsan, somebody tweeted Judge Marsan exercising discretion to penalize behavior that endangers witnesses will be far more effective than a $1,000 fine. I mean, that really is kind of, well, I know we overuse unprecedented.
And that's why there's 30 days in jail for each contempt under the New York state law. And I think Trump will push Marsan to that 30-day limit. So, as a matter of courtesy, I always gave the defense counsel the names of the witnesses who would be testifying the following day, just so they could, schlep the right boxes and files over to court and be ready to go. But I think both the prosecutors and Judge Marsan were right to say, the minute you get these names, you're going to blast them out. You're going to post about them and you're going to endanger them. So the answer is no, this is a problem of your making, and you got to live with it now.
I was saying that even Michael Cohen, who's, a pretty tough figure, sounded a little rattled yesterday, with the amount of death threats and all that. I mean, I hate to ask the question that way, Glenn, but you've been a prosecutor for years and years. I mean, how are they protecting Michael Cohen and Stormy Daniels? I mean, because obviously they don't need a witness list to know who some of the witnesses are, right?
Yeah, I fear that they are not protecting them. I only had 2 anonymous juries in my 30 years as a prosecutor, and each one involved a RICO gang, a criminal organization that the Washington Post dubbed Murder Inc., Murder Incorporated, because this criminal organization killed 31 people over the course of about 8 years. That was when we needed an anonymous jury, and frankly, they still got to some of the jurors during the course of the trial. But we moved heaven and earth to protect jurors and to protect witnesses. It feels like we're not moving heaven and earth to protect jurors and witnesses the way we need to. And just think about it, Steph. The only other time I ever had an anonymous jury is when we went after the most violent RICO organization in Washington, D.C. And now those measures, some of them have to be employed for a former president of the United States.
Here we are with Don Snorleone now. One analyst said it's a good sign for the speed with which we can get this trial in, the fact that we have 12 jurors. But another said the law says you can have up to 6 alternates. I think in this case you'd want all 6 because we've lost 2 already. Some of them could be spooked by a social media post, so you're going to need all 6. I mean, I know it's harder to get out once you've been seated, right? But I mean, it seems like that's going to be a pretty compelling reason to say, I'm scared to death for myself and my family. I've been targeted by ex-Fox host idiot or whoever, right?
Yeah, and during one of our RICO trials, Steph, let me tell you what the defendants did. They would call their friends and criminal associates, and Lord knows Donald Trump has lots of lackeys and flunkies who are willing to do his bidding for him. They would call them into the courtroom because any member of the public can come in the courtroom. Now, mind you, it's tougher to get into the Trump courtroom. And then they would eyeball all the jurors. And D.C. is a big city, but a very small town. And they would say, oh, you know what? I know that guy. And
like
then they were off
like
to the
Matt
races.
Gaetz
And those jurors ended up
yeah.
having to be excused mid-trial, and we had to replace them with an alternate.
Yeah, like Matt Gaetz did. Remember the back of the congressional hearing? He's lurking back there staring at Michael Cohen, trying to intimidate him and, tweeting threats about him and his family. I mean, these guys are all thugs. Here's the good news. Ron tweets, I've tried over 250 criminal jury trials over 29 years. I've never once not had a client stand for the jury, and that includes 6 charged with murder. Leave it to Trump to go out of his way to be as boorish and as obnoxious as possible. I mean, Glenn, I'm still confident that justice is coming for this mofo.
You know what?
Is showing
the jurors are...
Yeah, go ahead.
Listen, trials in part are a popularity contest, and Donald Trump will be the least popular person in that courtroom because of the way he behaves and misbehaves. None of that will be lost on the jurors. And today, Steph, we've got the Sandoval hearing. Mm-hmm. So the prosecutors are going to detail 13 instances of uncharged misconduct that they want to cross-examine Donald Trump on. Anybody, just read this Sandoval hearing with these 13 instances of misconduct. It's like an Applebee's menu. There's so much to choose from. And the jurors ultimately are going to come to despise Donald Trump for who he is, how he behaves in the courtroom, not just for all the incriminating evidence that is introduced against him. When you say justice is coming, I am absolutely confident that the jurors will hold him accountable for his crimes. It's just that I want everybody to get through the process safely, the jurors, the witnesses, and everybody else.
Well, I agree with you, Glenn. I think that's why they're freaking out. Trump on his whole team, Fox News, all of those. I feel like they're doing everything they can to try to, throw a bomb in the middle of this trial. I mean, but it looks like we're going to have all the alternates today, right? That means we start Monday, possibly, right? And then how long is the trial, would you say?
Yeah, opening statements on Monday, and if the pace of jury selection is any measure, we could see Donald Trump as convicted felon by the 1st of June.
Sorry. Wow, that was like a little 3-way for you, Glenn. Thank you for that. Let's just end on that happy ending. Okay. And can I tell you how excited people are about Philadelphia Sexy Liberal next Saturday? Oh my God, with you and JoJo from Jurors. That's a lot of Jersey up there. And Lindy Lee. I mean, we are so excited. SexyLiberal.com.
I can't wait, Steph. Can't wait. It's going to be fun.
All right. Thank you, honey. There he goes. Love you.
All right. Love y'all.